All right, so we are here, second episode of, do we even have a real name? Is it just the Women's 100 Miler Project podcast, episode 2?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like imposter syndrome when it comes to the podcast thing, but I mean, I guess we're doing a podcast, so we have a podcast, and it is, I don't know if you can.
You're not an imposter.
I don't know if you can really be an imposter on that, but
No,
it's not possible.
Okay, so we're here with Aneta Zeppettella, and this is very exciting. So first off, Nettie, you're fantastic. How did you get into running 100 milers? I think.
Well, so I got talked into it by my friend. So I did my first 50 miles, which was JFK, which a lot of people do as their first 50. And my friend said, well, if you did the 50, you can do 100. It's all mental after that. You're never going to run more than the 50 in training for 100. So I'm like, okay, maybe. And it was a leap year. And I remember it was February 29th. So I signed up for Burning River. And I did that as my first 100 in 2016 after running like 350Ks and 150 miler. And why not?
Did you find it much different? Like, was it kind of?
Oh yeah, it was different. It was harder. It was way harder. It wasn't just like she was lying to me. She thought what she told me was total lies. It was
no one ever runs their first 100 without being lied to by many people who've already run. That's how we get people. We lie to them.
And, how did that race go for you overall? Was it, did it go better than you expected? I mean, do you just say she lied to you? Did it go better or worse than you expected by the end? Or
so I have to tell you, it went. So I think majority of people, when they heard I was doing 100, they pretty much kind of indirectly told me, oh, if you don't finish, don't worry about it. Everybody has DNF. So like, I don't think a lot of people believed I could do it. Because I was totally green, going into it. Like I did a lot of things. I did so many things wrong there. And so yeah, I walked. So Carissa there, my close friend, came and paced me for 50 miles. And at some point she's like, you have to keep moving because we're going to time out if you don't start like running. But yeah, I did actually, I did better than I expected. What surprised me is how much I hurt in the places that I didn't even know I could possibly hurt, like inside my elbows and like the weird things. And then I hallucinated a lot, even, there. I remember we were going across that little bridge at Burning River, and I grabbed Carissa at some point and I pulled her back, and she's like, what's wrong with you? And I said, an antelope in front of you. And she's like, I don't know, antelopes in Ohio. What are you talking about? But there were those cattails and they were kind of leaning across
the towpath bridge. The bridge on the towpath. Yep.
Yes. And I thought there were antelopes jumping in front of her, and like we're gonna knock her off, like in her path. We're going to like collide with her. So yeah, it was kind of a disaster, but I finished. And I remember the day after I was going to go, I made a mistake of making an appointment for my daughter for pediatrician for her annual checkup. And I was like, oh my God, I just feel so out of it. They're going to think I'm like an addict or something. Because like my response was really slow. Yeah, I'm Kyle. So it was, but yeah, it went better than I thought. Overall, like, I mean, for somebody who was totally green and unprepared and had no experience and ran JFK and decided that, yeah, my friend is right and all I have to do is just suck it up. And then it didn't go bad.
What do you think? Was there a particular lesson that sticks out from that first 100 that you learned that you wish you would have known going into it?
Oh my God. So like the things I did, I wore dangling earrings. I don't know what, like total idiot. And I got like chafing behind my ear.
Wait, you were dangling earrings to your first 100?
Yeah. Maybe that's something I never would have thought to tell someone. I never would have said, hey, so don't wear earrings that move when you're running.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even have your steers.
Yeah, it was just like we were little, but we were still dangling, and and we kept hitting behind my ear, and I got like big raw spots from my dangling earrings.
Don't wear earrings.
No, don't wear earrings at all. Don't wear anything. No, don't wear anything. Don't wear jewelry.
I love some of the lessons we're accumulating here. In our first episode with Jessica Vandenbush, it was do not get a Brazilian wax.
Okay, yeah, don't wear
days
Which
before
race? Was that
your
Orcus?
100. Yeah,
that was Orcus that she got a Brazilian wax like 2 days before Orcus one year.
Oh God,
Got the worst chafing of her delicate regions of ever.
That's so funny.
So we're compiling a good list here.
Another thing I did during my first 100 that was totally idiotic was, for some reason, at mile 70, I decided to put on a pair of compression socks. And, so I took my socks off and I put those knee-high compression socks, and my feet were so swollen. So Carissa is trying to help me put those on, and it's just like not working because my calves are like the size of like some soccer player with all the swelling in my foot. So it was like, oh my God, it was so idiotic. Another thing I did, I decided to switch shoes, and I was running in ultras at that point. And for some reason, I decided to switch from Lone Peaks to Superiors that have way less padding, and it actually hurt my feet more.
Oh, this was in the middle of the race that you switched?
You went at 70 miles. It was like I had no clue what I was doing. I was just like, I made so many mistakes, like rookie mistakes, like wearing dangling earrings, putting the compression socks on my swollen feet at mile 70, and I can't pull. I mean, my feet are too swollen to put the compression socks over, the swelling. It was stupid. It was taking us way too long time. And then instead of getting like something that gives me more cushion towards the end, I'm going towards like barefoot running. So
you're just like, it's time to change shoes. So
yeah, it's time to change shoes, and like it doesn't make any sense. Like there was no really. I mean, I winged it, honestly. I mean, I trained for it.
Finished.
I did, yeah, I finished and I trained for it. But like the little things, I just had no clue, like little things that they don't really tell you about, like don't wear earrings. Like it's obvious you should not wear. I don't wear earrings anymore during 100. I just wanted to make it clear that
you decided.
I learned, and I don't wear earrings during 100, and I don't try to put compression socks, over like the teeny compression socks that you have to stretch over and pull over your feet for 15 minutes. I don't do it anymore.
No more of those. So at this point, was it 1900 milers?
I just finished my 20th at Charleston.
Okay, that was your 20th. Nice. Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
The way that's including a 200, or do you?
Yeah, so 200. Yeah, I did 1 200, and I'm counting.
And Badwater 100.
Yeah, Badwater was 135. So,
but you're counting that on your list of 100.
I tell you, yeah, that's my list of 100. So, like, I'm not counting Potawatomi as 200s. I counted it as 100 race plus. Type of thing.
Gotcha. Oh. Gotcha. Fantastic. So, is there a race that sticks out as being your hardest race to get through to date?
My hardest one was Herd, definitely. I like the Herd has like.
It's rough.
Pretty tight cutoff for as hard as it is. It's a 36-hour cutoff, and you have to like be moving, and you have to like nothing can go really wrong to make it. If something goes wrong, you're just going to time out. So that was hard. Like I had to like really run my last loop to make it. Like everybody who I ran with for the first 3 loops, they all quit because they decided we're not going to make it. I finished 20 minutes under the
how common it is for people to drop because they think they won't make a cutoff?
Yeah.
Never do that.
I at least going to try. If I time out, I time out. But I came all the way here. I might as well run until they tell me I can't anymore. So I did. So I was, I think, like 3rd or 4th from the bottom. I was like one of the last people to finish.
You said you came 20 minutes from the cutoff on that one?
20 minutes, I think. It was like 35.
It's like 22 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember watching because it had a tracker, and I remember watching you because I've done her and I know the nightmare that it is. Yeah. And I knew you were out. I remember like hitting race updates and be like, where is she?
Yeah.
And
a lot of people when we saw my last split was like, is she going to make it? That last loop. The last loop was hard. I was just like, I had really hard time. So I was hitting my feet all the time, and Lee knows, on those like roots and those.
Are there roots there?
No, not just one, right?
Just a couple.
But I was tired, and I kept constantly hitting my feet on the roots. So we were like so banged up, and then I think they said they were like the worst conditions since 2009 or something, because there was a lot of rain before, so there was tons of mud, and there were sections that, there's 5 loops, so every loop the conditions are worse because people go through it. And I was like disgustingly dirty. I was just like covered in mud. My feet were totally messed up, but I just knew I didn't have time to fix it. I just had to suck it up and keep going, because if I just gonna stop and like do a sock change or whatever, I'm just going to time out. I don't have time for it. So just like, okay, just keep going. And I had a pacer. I usually don't have pacers. And when I got there, I got to the aid station, and I looked like probably like deer in the headlight, because I was scared I would time out. And I'm just like, oh, I have to get out. I have to get out. And there's a guy that was local, and he said, hey, do you need a pacer? I can run with you. And I'm like, okay. So he did, and he was awesome. He was a great pacer. He never asked me anything about my life. He just kept telling me what was ahead and what kind of pace I had to run to make the cutoff.
Oh, yeah.
So he was just like, hey, there are like 5 switchbacks ahead of time, and you have to run that one because it's not as steep, and then you can walk the other ones. Then you get into aid station, and you're gonna get ice, and you're gonna get out in 2 minutes, and you can still make it. So he was pushing me to get through, and it was amazing. And then I remember I'm still looking at my watch, and I just don't know if I'm gonna make it or not. And then we went through that gate. There's a gate, kind of like a little bit easier section. And I'm thinking, oh, it's 3 miles from the finish, so I can totally make it. So I asked him, how far to the finish? And he says, 4.5. It's like, I don't know if I can make 4.5 miles. Like 3, I know I have enough time. So then I remember we coming towards the end, and I'm like, is that it? Am I done? And he says, yeah, you're just gonna turn the corner and you're done. So I sat there and I said, you know what? I'm going to cry here, because I don't want to cry at the finish line. So I'm just gonna sit here and like get super emotional, and then I'm gonna wipe my tears and just go and look super happy. So that's what I did.
So you would have been even in ahead of 20 minutes if you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't cry for that long. I cried for like maybe a minute.
Yeah, for a minute. Got it.
It wasn't. It just kind of like snorted out of my nose, like did an ugly cry and wiped my nose and went to go and finish. But yeah, it's super. It's a. I mean, super. I mean, I'm sure people. I mean, there are probably races that are harder. But for me, it was the hardest because of the cutoff. And also everybody around you is quitting. Like that's running your pace. Because the people in front, they keep going, but people who are like my pace, they all quit. So I'm like, all of a sudden, like everybody quit, and I'm like, am I stupid to try to keep going? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm like delusional.
Yeah.
Did you guys run it the same year?
No.
She actually, Lee was the one. Because I remember I really wanted to run hers, and I look at her times, and I was like, there is no way I can finish, because she's so much faster than me. And like her time
both times.
Her time was like 3 hours, over the cutoff, and I'm usually like 5-6 hours behind Lee, so like there is no way. But she told me to try to run Eastern States, and she said if I can finish Eastern States, I can finish hers. So that's what I did, and then I got into hers on my first try. So it worked. Yeah, like I'm like your fun girl, and I follow everything you say. So.
And you were talking about going back, right?
Yes. So I got in this year. I just, with the COVID and stuff, and we're doing like everything is online, and we're not doing post race banquet. So if I want to go to Hawaii, I wanted the whole COVID thing to be over. So they never let you defer, but this year they let us defer. So I deferred it to 2023. So I'm going back. So you guys have to enter your name in the lottery and go too.
We were going to try, right? I think that is possibly in the try for we're going to try.
Lee doesn't want to. Lee, if you finish one more time, you will be a veteran. You will pretty much get a guaranteed entry. They now do the veteran pool. So if you're 3-time herd finisher, you go as a veteran. I can't talk today. God. So there's a separate. It's kind of like Hard Rock. It's a separate pool, and they only had like 18 people, and they were pulling, I think, 12 spots out of it. So once you finish 3 times, you pretty much can go whenever you want to.
I don't want to do that.
Why not?
She says that.
This is the trouble. Like I tell her all these stories about all these races I've done, and she's like, "Oh, I want to do that race." I'm like, "Oh, God damn it! Now I have to go do it again."
I'm really deranged, pretty much. I mean, you've sent me a picture of you from Hurt, and I don't know if it was like finish line.
The finish. When I finished, my husband had to push me in the wheelchair through the hotel in Waikiki. You know, that everybody's going to dinner and everybody looks like super fancy, and here I am with like mud on my feet. I smell like a homeless person, and he's pushing me, you know, through the hotel lobby at like 6:30 p.m. when everybody's leaving for dinner. He said I look like somebody, like a homeless person he picked on the streets of Honolulu and just, you know, wanted to save or something and try to get her to have a good life now.
That's fantastic. But then it's like I hear that and I see the picture and I'm like, that sounds like a race I want to do. Like, so
you would love it.
I clearly have problems that this appeals to me, but
I have the same problem because that's the reason I wanted to run Fat Dog, because I said it's harder than Hurt. So like, okay, let's do it. Right. Like, oh, no.
Was it High Lonesome? High Lonesome is harder, I think, or at least
High
Lonesome, because High Lonesome is like Hurt as far as the gap between what really good runners can do and what the cutoff is a lot narrower. Hard Rock is far easier to finish as far as I can tell. I know I haven't run it, but I've been out on the course. You look at like the course record versus the cutoff. There's a 24-hour gap.
Wow,
and,
yes.
And you can still see like pretty good runners finishing 20 hours and 18 hours ahead of the cutoffs. Like there's a lot of finishers there. Even the women's record is like 27 something, I think. So that's still, and you get 48 hours.
Yeah. Kind of like Cruel Jewel.
Look at High Lonesome, and Cruel Jewel is even easier to finish than Hard Rock.
Cruel Jewel I felt like, I mean, it's the hard course, but you have all the time in your life to finish. And no altitude.
They're hard courses, but as long as you're just really stubborn and willing to keep hiking,
exactly.
You can walk those ones out. Hard Rock's got altitude, that can be a pain, but you can just walk it out.
Yeah, I have a hard time with altitude.
High Lonesome is 36 hours, like Hurt. And it's a course that really most places would be more like 42, and it's hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe next year. I have those. I did 2 high altitude races, and both times you've been there, so you've seen.
Yeah, you were there, and I remember your breathing.
I just hack like crazy. I just have that. I guess I got checked, and I guess I have exercise-induced asthma that's triggered by low air quality and dust.
Yeah, I remember it almost killed you at Ute. I'm amazed you got that one done. You remember Ute 100 out in Utah?
Yeah. I was like,
I remember I was still at the finish when you got there. I remember seeing you finish. It was alarming enough that people were like, should we send her to an emergency room?
Yeah, I just don't want to go to the emergency room.
You just, I remember you didn't want to go, but they were like, that breathing sounds like we need an ambulance.
Yeah.
Other people were talking about this. I don't know if you even heard the whole discussion because you were just in a chair.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's funny, but
the
funny thing about this is that after you finished, and they said it was that high altitude pulmonary edema, and so after that, I think the same year or later, David Goggins did some race somewhere, and he dropped because of high altitude pulmonary edema. And my daughter, who was 13 at the time, said, "Mom, you are tougher than David Goggins."
I would say that you probably are.
I think you are. I think you absolutely are.
And I've seen you like barely able to get oxygen, have thrown up, can't get oxygen, chafed everywhere, and the volunteer comes over and you still smile and say please and thank you, and you're all sweet with them. You maintain your. I've seen you in a pretty high amount of suffering and still nice to the people around you, which that's another level of tough.
Well, yeah, and that brings me to one of the next things I wanted to talk about was like, holy crap, you have 1900s and no DNFs. Like that is incredibly rare. Like the amount of mental toughness that takes is pretty impressive. So like, how do you, like, do you ever think about quitting? Like, have you had races where you've thought about quitting, and how do you like
I do.
Yeah.
I do think about quitting. I think it's stupid. I think it's like idiotic when sometimes I go and like, why am I even doing it? It's the dumbest thing ever. But I always feel
that's
like
low blood sugar though.
Yeah, I'm going to finish this thing and I'm never running again. It's usually, I just always have that thing. I have to finish that stupid thing because if I don't finish it, I have to come back next year and finish it because you know, and then also like, okay, I came all the way, let's say to Utah, right? I might as well finish it because I'm already here. So I just have to suck it up and get going. So yeah, I think about quitting, but like I think about quitting after I finish, if that makes sense. I think like I'm just gonna suck it up and get this done. And then I'm never running again in my life ever because it's dumb.
But okay, so I think for the women in our group, mental toughness is one of the big concerns about these women who haven't run 100 before and are kind of afraid to do it. And they're afraid they're going to get out there and kind of have that lapse where they don't have the strength to power through when it gets
yeah, they can. I think like when you look at the finishing rate, women actually finish way more percentage wise.
They just keep going.
Yeah, than men do. Like I think it was at Hellbender one year that most of the women finish and the guys actually quit. And some couple other races too. Like I think the percentage of female finishers versus starters, it's way higher.
Yeah.
Always for men, for women versus
almost
men.
Always.
So I think once we get on, and I think we have the, and I talk about it too. I think we just have, it's harder for us to, whatever society does, it's still harder for us to get out, whatever it's, whoever's fault it is, it's like, maybe it's in our head, right? Because we're saying, I mean, I deal with it myself. Like I should be with my daughter, you know, I should be at my daughter's swim meet. I should not be sitting on this stupid mountain. I should be there, right? So I think since I'm not there with her, I might as well finish because I already have that weekend that I feel at that point when I'm running, like I selfishly took away to myself. And it's stupid, you know, it's just kind of my head, the way my brain works. But I think I'm already here and I already, you know, made that commitment and I already not with, you know, so I might as well finish it and get it done.
Where it's like almost like if you miss something important, then you got to make it worth it. Like you can't quit, like you got to make it to the finish.
Yeah, it just make it to the finish.
I'm missing that.
And then, you know, and it's also like, it's just running. I mean, I hate to say it, but you have a lifeline every 6 miles. Somebody's gonna help you, get you your water bottle, give you food, you know, people help you. It's not like you're there completely alone and you have no map and you just don't know where you're going, right? It's just, I mean, it's a control situation to have an exit plan. So yeah, I always feel like I keep going until they tell me I can't, because I can, you know, I don't care where I finish. I mean, I'm not an elite runner, so I don't care if I'm dead last. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, so I keep going until like, I mean, like once I have blisters, I already have blisters. If I stop running, like they're not gonna disappear, they're already there. So I might as well keep going, you know, like if I have chafing, I already have chafing. Like, you know, it hurts to a point and then eventually you get used to the pain. It's kind of like you adjust to it and it's there. It's the damage is already done. There's nothing you can do. So I might as well
just keep trucking along with.
Yeah, you're already there. I mean, you already started, so I don't know. I just kind of get in my head, like in my head, I just get in that little microcosmos of the race, and I just keep, like, I just feel like I need to finish it. I don't know, for whatever reason, I feel like I need to get it done. Yeah. Unless they tell me I can't or I time out, then obviously I'm not going to throw a tantrum over it and stuff. I just
right.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen the first time that happens to you.
Yeah, it will happen eventually. I mean, I am aware of it. Eventually, it will happen. It happens to everyone.
I mean, we either quit running eventually, or I've actually
either stop running.
I've almost missed a cutoff before, but only once. At DFL one time, but otherwise, no. I've DNF'd though.
I DNF'd a night trail marathon. That was my first night run. I didn't have that one because I had I don't know what I was doing, and my light went in like a weird mode, and it went in the red, and I couldn't get it out of the red thing, so I couldn't see. So instead of finishing the race and going to the finishing chute, I went and started another loop, and then all of a sudden I see like I'm at mile 3, and I'm like, okay, I should be done. So then I'm trying to get back, and I timed out by the time I got out, but I didn't break out of the loop. It was completely my fault because I didn't have a backup light. My light just went in that red thing, and you couldn't see anything.
So more racing. Have a backup light.
Yeah,
but I don't actually carry a backup light most of the time.
I
rarely even have a drop bag one. Like I often
have. You should see my light. I am like,
but I just have a black diamond, and then but I have backup batteries. I have a lot of backup batteries, and I won't run with. When a light hits a certain age, I'm done running with it. Like after a couple years, I'll get a new light.
It
becomes a camping light, or I give it to a new runner. But I don't. I've only run with 2 lights times I was required to run with 2 lights by the race.
So you always run with a backup, Nettie, after that?
Oh my God. Yes. You should see my lights. So I have like 2 lights and 4 backup batteries with me, even though it takes just one battery. My biggest fear is being stuck in the middle of the night somewhere with no light. That's my biggest fear. So I run sometimes the whole race with the battery. Like I start, at 8 a.m. and I have that irrational fear that what if my drop bag won't be there and my light won't be there? So I have one light there.
I carry a light the whole time. I will not count on a light being in a drop bag.
I don't.
Because I thought I'd be somewhere and get to my light. The light is on me at all times.
I do that too. I keep the light on me at all times, just
and a set of
case.
But I don't keep a backup light, and I didn't worry about that. Like I keep backup batteries, and I didn't worry about that until Cloud Splitter, and my light got stuck in the locked off mode, and I for a while there, I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to turn on. Like how. And Cloud Splitter is kind of it's got some you want to be able to see at night for
sure. I placed Carissa there.
So it finally turned on, but it kind of got my wheels turning where it's like, I don't know, should I run with a backup light? But like
I did a race in Georgia. It's called Baby Dragon 100, and it was pouring like the whole time, like raining.
I remember that.
It was summer, and my light, my headlamp started acting funky, and I would stop working, and I changed the batteries, and it didn't do anything. So I had a handheld, and I ran with the handheld to my drop bag, and I took another light. And then I found out those like Amazon bought lights that, they like knockoff of Pencil and the other ones. A lot of them are not waterproof.
No, they're not.
So they cost, $50 or whatever versus 200. But if it downpours, I'm telling you, they don't work. They just stop working.
That's a good point.
And once it dried, it was fine. But I'm not taking it to.
There's $20 energizers. The $20 you can buy them at Home Depot Energizer lights are actually they're not quite as bright as is optimal, but those are a good backup because they're fairly light and they cost like $20. And they actually, I've had one. I've taken them kayaking, so I know in the rain. So they're pretty good. Do you know what's happening?
Okay, very good.
Have you ever had this one? Although you carry 2 lights, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Batteries
are almost dead, and you come to the aid station and you turn your light off, and you need to change your batteries at the aid station because there's light. And then you leave with no pacer by yourself into the woods, having forgotten to change your batteries. And you get half mile out, and your light goes off. And now you're by yourself in the woods in the pitch black, and your batteries are done, and you have to change them. So I actually now will never run with a headlight where I can't, like on my Black Diamond, it runs on AAA's pencil, but I like every light that I have that I ever run with, I know how to change it blindfolded. But always sit down when you do that, because if you don't and you drop a battery, you're never going to find the battery again. So like I put the batteries in a pocket that I can find by touch. And then I can change. I've taught myself in my headlamps like to hold at a particular orientation in my hand and feel for the nub on the end of the battery. Because if you put them in backwards, your light won't turn on. Like you can't just feel for the hole. You have to orient, and that's usually visual, but you can feel the plus end because it sticks out. But you have to know where the goes.
Yeah. You see, I have a backup light, so I just switch my lights.
Switch lights.
I just carry 50 pounds of unnecessary. You
could do it like Commando and learn how to change your headlamp batteries in the dark all over.
But you picked my pack one time, and you were asking if I'm carrying bricks there. Those are
I remember that. Your pack is like double the weight of mine. We don't know how fast you are because you're carrying a 15-pound pack.
I have all the backup lights in it.
I just pictured that with like all the crazy stuff she assigns to our group. Like now they have to do part of their 6-minute lunges with their eyes closed and such.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're gonna have to learn to change.
Now they're gonna have to blindfold themselves and like do
change battery.
You didn't know that was coming? Yeah, and you're gonna video the demonstration of me doing
it. She's gonna make them do it. They're gonna blindfold.
But it's a good idea. Like do stuff. You should even like find stuff in your pack blindfold.
Sure, have a bunch of pacers lined up. Have crew. But yeah, I know what's in what zipper pocket of my pack. I always pack it like I'll go on when I was newer. I would wear it that way on long run, so I know where everything is in my pack. It's this big ordeal when I bought a new pack because I had to like reassign pockets a little.
Oh yeah, that's the worst. They changed the pockets design and you just don't know where things are anymore.
Well, I had to relearn. I had to like put the stuff and then go on long run and keep touching certain pockets and repeating out loud. People running with me think I'm crazy. I'm out there like on like an 18-mile jog with my pack packed for a race, and I just keep touching pockets. Like I've got like the skin the Tums and the Tylenol pocket and the caffeine and the backup caffeine gel that's extra caffeinated, and like I'm just keep touching pockets and saying what's in them.
Actually, that's a really good point. That's something that
I find everything by touch.
Actually, pretty soon we should be covering what they should be carrying in their pack and have them doing that on their long and like medium runs.
We should pack our packs for our next.
Yeah. So what's necessary and I can tell you what's not necessary with my 15 pounds.
We'll make a video where we pack our packs one by one things and compare what we both do, so they get different examples.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Memory is good to have. Like if you're always keeping the stuff in the same pockets, it's so helpful.
Yeah, because you had to learn
my like that. Always right here, and now it used to always be on my left, right at the bottom of my rib cage on a little zipper pocket, and I changed packs. Now it's on the other side, almost the same spot, but other side, and the zipper's.
I have my secret pocket that got zipper that's hard to open, and that's where I always put the things that like my key fob or something. I don't want to open that pocket. It's my secret pocket.
The keys don't come on hundreds. The keys don't come out on hundreds. BL in long run. Long run, there's the
long run. Yeah, the long run. That's my secret pocket. That's where the key is because the zipper is broken, so I should not be messing with it.
Oh yeah,
I take the pack off. But yeah, totally. It's a good idea to like pack the pack and what you don't need, because like if you have overstuffed packed, then you get a lot of chafing.
Right.
Unless you're used to it. I mean, that's the other thing. Like I've definitely done lots of training runs with all of my gear. As long as I'm running hundreds often enough, I don't worry about it. But if I have I have to go for a couple training runs where so I'll be like, when it was new, what I would do is I would actually go out for like short, easy runs in the city with my whole ultra pack on, and people are like, hey, this is a 5-mile pub run. Yeah, I know. But I gotta have all my stuff, because that way your skin gets used to it gradually.
Yes.
Instead of getting back and going for a 30-mile run when it's wet and then wrecking your skin just for training.
Yeah.
We do that at Shawnee too when we go to Shawnee, because there is really it's like 30 some miles and you can't get anything. You can't get to your car for hours. So like carry everything. And I sometimes I overpack and I have way too much stuff. I'm like Pollyanna. I'm like taking Mary Poppins, taking stuff from my pack. Oh, you need this, you need that. I have everything. Extra shirt, gloves, hats, chafing, lube, all the Pepto-Bismol. What do you need? 5 flights.
Every scenario. So
totally unnecessary.
Do you have a race that sticks out as like your best performance, not by other people's standards and not by how you placed, but your personal best? Like it just went really well for you, it smoothly.
Like the best, I'm pretty much the most proud of is finishing Potawatomi 200. So you went like.
That was a lot of rain y'all got at that.
It was horrible.
A lot of cold rain.
It was a lot of rain. I swear I was wearing 3 rain jackets on top of each other. And I just kept putting all the jackets that I had on. And then my friend Ruth came on the last day. It took me 3 days to run it. So on the 3rd day, my friend Ruth came from Walmart and bought me frog togs. I'm telling you, frog togs, $10, totally works. It's not breathable, but when you're freezing and towards the end, you're barely moving, frog togs, $10. I put it on top of my Arc'teryx jacket that I paid $300.
Oh, nice. That's good to know.
Work. Yeah, they totally. And if you rip them, they $10 at Walmart. You don't have to worry about destroying your jacket. And they're not super breathable, but they keep you warm when you like at the end when you're cold, like really cold. And they zip like the ponchos and they okay, but this is actually like a jacket. You know what I mean? And before it doesn't breathe, it keeps you warm. So when you get to that
like a
end of the race,
you
get trash bag type of thing. Yeah, it's like a glorified trash bag.
Yeah.
That's why, but yeah, that's the one I'm glad I did it. It was hard. Because it was cold and it was raining the whole time, and a lot of people dropped. There were tons of people that started. I think 6 of us finished.
We looked that up. We saw there were 6 finishers.
Yeah, so
there were 5 guys and you.
Yeah, I was the only female. It was really cool. They made me feel like a rock star because I guess the last time they had a female finisher there was 2015 or something. The women started it. There are not many women finished for various reasons. There were a lot of women on the start line that were way better than me. You just I had a better day.
Just that you mean faster at shorter distances.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter. That's like, look, I can run super fast for 21 miles of a road marathon. As long as I don't have to run those last 5, I can run a real fast 21 miles of the marathon. And then that's why I'm not a good marathon runner. Like people, like anyone can be fast at what they're fast at, but you were the best. You were the best at that distance.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I was also.
You got to the finish line and they didn't.
Yeah, that's true. I just had enough time, and I think I had the frog togs, and I wasn't cold because I put the $10 jacket on top of my $300 jacket, and it didn't end up not working after a while. Yeah, my $300 jacket worked for a while, and eventually.
Which one was it? What was your fancy?
Arc'teryx one, Arc'teryx Nolan, I think it's called, or something like that. It works, but not for 3 days.
Okay. Because I was looking, I'm trying to pick a jacket for doing a 200, and I would like something that breathes a little, but I just can't decide.
Oh, it was awesome for like a day, but after eventually it got soaked. And, I think that they have a limit, how long they can stay waterproof. And
I know I'm concerned about, we have a 200 that may have wet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you guys have like way harder one.
Hey, you want to come to Swiss Peaks?
That's right. We've been trying to recruit you for Swiss Peaks.
Yeah, come on Swiss Peaks.
I know. I always have to see how I survive Fat Dog.
No, because too close. You have to. We're going right after Fat Dog. Fat Dog's like a practice season.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, Cocodona is the practice. Want to come run Cocodona?
I can't because I told you that's my wedding anniversary. Yeah. That's one of the days I don't run. I can run all other days, but I don't run my daughter's birthday, my husband's birthday, and my wedding anniversary. Other than that, I can run any day.
Yeah, so you do have those boundaries on that.
Yeah, I just feel like I think they'd probably be okay if I told them, but I feel like they're super supportive and stuff. So
yeah,
I can find another race.
Yeah, that's good. So that's one of the things too that I think a lot of women are curious about. You're a mom, you're a spouse, you've got you said you own a company, right? Partially.
Yeah, with my friend Jennifer Russo.
And what's the name of your company?
It's called Empower Ultras. We actually started it right before COVID. It was a wonderful time to start putting on events right before we got shut. We had one event and then we got shut down.
Oh yeah, it's a perfect timing.
Yeah, but we're kind of back at it now because it's a little bit more normal. But yeah, Jennifer is my God, she's a badass. She done like 225 miles at Ohio Backyard.
Jennifer Kaiser Russo, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I thought I was picturing the right person. No, I know I'm picturing her.
Yeah. She's my good friend. We actually ran today together at Tar Hollow.
Overlapped a couple times with her, but we just don't live close enough together.
She lives in Cincinnati. Yeah. She's super tough lady. But yeah. So we have that small business together. I'm trying to put a couple races around Cincinnati area, Dayton, Cincinnati. like a night marathons, and we have 48-hour race, and we try to put 100-miler in our area. So that's something we're working on now.
Oh, cool. You might have a couple of interested parties if
I know. I'll tell you, like once we have all the permits, you guys welcome to come and run. Would love to have you.
That would be
we'll drag a bunch of people into it. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So with doing all those things, having all that on your plate, do you have kind of a secret to balance, or is that something that you're still working on juggling?
No, you just have to find, like, you make time, right? Like, I mean, my daughter, like, she's a swimmer and she swims for an hour and a half, 6 times a week. So that's when I usually run, because there's nothing else I can really do. Like, she swims. I mean, now I started lifting weights when she swims at 5 in the morning, because I'm a wimp. And 5 in the morning, I'd rather go to the Y, because she swims at the Y, and lift weights than run, because it will be warmer later.
She's close to driver's license age?
Yeah, she's almost. She's 15 and a half. So
looked like
she's gonna start driving eventually. But like during her swim meets, like if I don't time, I run between her events. I'm like a stupid mother that runs around the building, you know. I don't care. Like my husband at first was like, what do people going to think? I was like, I don't care what they think about me. I'm already weird. I have an accent. I'm from another country. Like I can be weird and run around the building 25 times. Like nobody. I'm already weird.
I used to do that. I actually think that's like a great way to balance it. I used to do that when I had to take my daughter to cheerleading practice. I would just they didn't want the
just run around, right? There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, I would just run around in circles around the field and get my exercise in while she was.
Yeah, and I don't care what everybody thinks. Like, so what? I'm running circles around the building, and then I baby wipe before I go and sit at the bleachers. And I told him, like, I can baby wipe, and like it's a good half an hour before I start stinking again, so I can be seen.
You're good.
That's enough for her to swim, and then I can get out again.
Yeah. I forgot to ask you, like, circling back to your successful race, other than rain gear, is there anything else you attribute that race going so well to?
Like, for the Potawatomi?
Yeah.
So I swear, for the cold rain, not for the warm rain, putting waterproof socks over your regular socks, that kept my feet pretty dry. And like a lot of people got, I usually get tons of blisters, but I hardly got any blisters there.
Well, because my feet, it was so cold, you weren't even sweating inside of the waterproof sock.
Yeah, and because I had, I had that waterproof sock over, because they say you can put waterproof socks directly on your skin. I just I am so prone to blisters. I just was afraid to do it.
So would I.
And then I never really ran in them by themselves. So I just put it over my regular like dry max socks. And my feet stay warm pretty.
I guess I'd want to test them on a training run if I knew I was doing a really cold race.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I don't know, I have problems with my hands going numb. And that really helped. Like, because I try to, they say with the Reynolds, it's like to keeping your core warm and keeping your feet warm. It kind of like protects your hands from going numb.
Huh.
So that's what I try to keep. I put the like
Carmel's body been with the hand.
Yes, I actually wanted to talk about that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So like, I swear that having the socks, the waterproof socks over regular socks, it changes. Your hands don't get so cold because your feet don't get so cold. And another thing I did, it was eventually I gave up because it was so wet and muddy, didn't make any sense. But I bought those like $14 shoes. I'm showing it like everybody's gonna see it, but kind of like a Velcro boot covers that you put over your shoes, and they collapse. You can put them in the pack. They cost $14 on Amazon, and I can send you a link after.
Oh, you mean the thing where, like, if a guy has a business suit or a woman's wearing nice shoes, you put them over top of your nice shoes?
Yes, it's the same concept.
Black rubber thing you pull over your regular shoes. Like, they had them when I was young. I don't know if it's a common.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. It's like a boot type of thing. But I would stop before every creek. There are a couple creek crossings. I should remember how many, but I don't remember now. But they were pretty deep and the water was kind of cold. So I would stop and it added maybe a minute to my time because they just Velcro. So you Velcro off, Velcro on, and I had the zipper bag and I put them back in. But I put it on for at least 120 miles when I was stopping and putting them on and taking them off. And it kept my feet not so wet. And yeah, it's kind of a pain. And eventually I did give up because it was raining so much and my boots were those covers were so muddy. We just couldn't even open the Velcro because there was so much mud on it. So like looking back, I should have probably bought 2 pairs and like have one in the drop bag and then switch when the other one were so dirty. But yeah, they were amazing. They kept me warm. And I kept my feet warm, so then I kept my hands warm because that's what my biggest fear besides getting stuck without light is like my hands going numb. So yeah, so totally the waterproof socks. And oh, you know what I did wrong? I know what I did totally wrong, and I would not recommend anybody do it. It was very stupid, and it was like my, I don't know, 16 or 1700 plus race. I brought tart cherry juice because I thought tart cherry juice will help you with soreness because tart cherry is very good for soreness. But you know what else tart cherry juice do? What else it does?
What's that?
It makes you sleepy. It relaxes.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
No, so it's good for inflammation and soreness, but it also, you're supposed to drink it before bed because it helps you fall asleep. So if you drink tart cherry juice at 3 a.m. on day 2 of running, it's not the best because then you leave the aid station and you get to another aid station 5 miles later and you're like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep. So I go to that aid station and I say, I need to take a nap. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like walking into the trees. So then I took a nap there and got some coffee, and then I realized later that it was the tart cherry juice. It relaxes you. It makes you, the kind of like that ashtawanga or whatever.
Oh.
Reduces soreness, but it also makes you sleepy. So no, don't drink tart cherry juice.
Good to know. I think that's another big question that keeps coming up. That I think people are kind of terrified about, the women in our group, or the nighttime part.
Oh, you're so scared your first 100 you don't fall asleep.
The sleepiness. Yeah, I mean,
No, you don't fall asleep. If you don't drink tart cherry juice, you won't fall asleep.
Right.
Well, that was a night too. Also, you'd probably be fine.
Yeah, that's it. But she did say, actually for Burning River, she said she was hallucinating too, which I'm assuming was at night. Was that at night for Burning River when
No, I don't hallucinate. You know what I hallucinate? I hallucinate in the morning.
She didn't
in the morning.
eat enough either, though. Not enough calories, and everything hurts. And
you could ask Carissa. I was not eating in my first 100 because my stomach hurt, and I didn't know about TAMS then. So I was just feeling like whatever I eat, I will throw up. So it's better not eating. I almost passed out at the finish line because I was like white as a ghost because I just for some reason thought if I eat, I will throw up. So it's better not to eat, which is totally idiotic. Don't do that. It's better to eat and throw up, actually. I swear, it's better to eat and throw up than not eat and pass out.
Yeah, yes.
And everything when you don't have enough calories. Everything is hopeless. You never want to run again.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to miss all the cutoffs and you've done the ultra math that explains to you why you're failing, you should not drop. You should put more calories in.
You should eat. And you usually
eat and walk.
And I always say, I mean, I threw up in races. I think everybody would, right? Usually, like you throw up and you feel better after you throw up. You actually usually you feel way better. Usually, sometimes you don't, but eventually, I eventually feel better. Like I will try to see what's going on wrong, and I eventually will figure it out. So like throwing up, and get TAMS, get Pepto-Bismol, and one of those coffee, like lots of calories, and then don't get too much coffee though. I think I told you the other day what I did. So I was running that race in Georgia and I was falling asleep. So I went and got coffee and it didn't work. So I'm like, okay, I'm falling asleep. I need to be awake. So I drank one of those energy drinks and I still felt sleepy. So I got another cup of coffee. But it takes a while to kick in, but I wasn't thinking clearly. So I wanted it to be like instant. So then I started running. I left the aid station. I started feeling a little bit less sleepy. and I'm running, and all of a sudden I get like so hot, and my heart is pounding, and I am like, oh my God, I am getting my first ever hot flash. Why does it have to happen during a 100-mile race? That's what they talk about. It's a hot flash. But then, like, I just didn't know why I feel like I'm having a heart attack. Why am I dying? Like, why is my heart rate like going through the roof? Because I never heard about hot flash causing like heart attack. And then it occurred to me that all that caffeine I just threw inside me 10 minutes ago is now kicking in full force. It's like, I don't know, 1,000 milligrams of caffeine that I kept throwing. So I have to like get it out of my system, and eventually I will be normal. So now, don't like watch your caffeine. Just don't get too much caffeine, because
well, you have to know your own personal limits. Like I can put in 400 milligrams of caffeine in order to stay conscious at 3 a.m. and it's fine. But
I don't drink coffee. I just drink
like
only coffee in races.
Can't have much. Like
I just drink.
You have to know yourself, and don't put in a ton of caffeine if you aren't a caffeine user.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not a caffeine person, if you're like me, you only drink like chai tea, and all of a sudden you go and you drink 2 cups of coffee and an energy drink, one of those 24-hour, whatever it's called, and then you start running, then you're gonna feel like somebody's stepping on your chest and you can't breathe, and you're gonna be sweating like, I don't know, like
crazy.
Yeah.
I actually did that to myself at no business. I told you about that when my heart was doing the same thing. It was just pounding, and I was like feeling like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like it was kind of freaking me out a little bit.
And you're scary, right? It's scary.
It was totally scary. It was like in the last 10 miles too. And for anyone who knows me, like I don't like running with people. Like I don't like having a pacer and stuff. Like I just get really deep in my head while running. And I definitely like don't enjoy having a pacer. It just kind of throws me out of my zone. But like I got so freaked out that I almost ran back to this aid station. I like passed this aid station. I started going, and I almost was like, I wonder if I should just get somebody to like run with me, because I got to a part where I was like kind of crossing a creek, and I realized like, what if I do pass out and I just like go
and end up in the creek, right? Yeah, I thought the same thing. What if I fall, pass out and like roll down that mountain and like be fine the next day? And there was a small race. There was not many people in it, and I'm like having a heart attack on top of the mountain. And what if I roll down in the ravine? And it's gonna take a while before we realize.
I've definitely overdone caffeine. I don't seem to get the palpitations. I think I'm pretty resistant to stimulants. Probably because I was one of those Ritalin kids, but it definitely eventually affects things like the speed of your digestive process.
Oh yeah,
and also I've had too much to where all of a sudden it kicked in, and I was like, "Woo! I'm gonna run this race." It's like, it's fine if you're at mile 90 to decide that, but if you decide that at like, say 73, and you decide to run 73 to like 84 or 5 really fast, but now like your legs are destroyed and you're hobbling. It's like, oh, you're almost done. Yes, I'm almost done. I just have to walk 16 miles in horrific pain and exhaustion now that the caffeine has, and when it wears off, you crash. But it happens.
You crash, you're miserable.
You have to read the ingredients on the gels. Like Muir, every flavor comes in either caffeine or no caffeine, but all the flavors do that. And like Hammer makes one that's tropical fruit, but it's caffeinated. Some of the not coffee flavored gels are very caffeinated. Cliff makes double chocolate cherry that has 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. Like, there's some caffeinated gels. There's like a cashew lemon from Weir that has 90 milligrams in it, and a raspberry with 90. Like if you have to read the
gels, I like those.
You have to read the gels because it's okay to have caffeine, but the amounts vary. Like Cliff makes some 100 milligram ones. Weir makes 90 milligram ones. Everyone else stops them at about 50 milligrams, but then makes also a 20 or 25 milligram one. So just because it says caffeine gel, you might be getting 20 milligrams and you might be getting if you wear readers. I think our average age of our project is over 40. I know we have a lot of folks who are over 50. I definitely, my last 100 was really funny. I was running with these 2 guys who were older, and there were teenagers, just a handful of teenagers at this aid station. It's a cloud splitter because they just pull their volunteers from the community. Teenagers have no clue. But they do have some gels, but they don't know what they are. They don't know what to do. These are like 15, 16-year-old kids. There's like one radio guy over with the safety radio checking bibs, and it's just these like young teenagers who've been left out there to hang out all night. They think it's the coolest ever. They don't, and we're trying to read the gels, and they don't understand. And it's 3 a.m, and I'm looking at it and holding it out at arm's length. Cannot read the label because the more tired I am, I don't
yeah, you can't see when you're tired.
I can read a book when I'm not tired, but I do hold things a little further from my face. But really, I wear like a +1 if I want to do really close work, and I wear magnifiers at work. But no, so we can't read it. And the one guy I'm running with, he goes, "Oh, here's my readers." He pulls them out of his vest. I put them on. I'm like, "Oh no, these are like a +3. My vision's not."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, here's mine. Mine are like a 1, 2." I put his on. I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, good." And we start reading the labels. It was very funny. Group of us reading labels with borrowing each other's readers at the aid station.
That's so funny.
Old people.
I don't read it, but like when I'm tired, I like
our problems.
And I look and everything is blurry. Like I can't read the
small
font.
Yeah, you're starting. You're gonna need reading glasses that you look at people over, but not quite yet. But it's coming. That's the first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. Because when I wake up in the
carry
morning,
readers in your pocket, or be prepared to make people read stuff to you if you're going to use aid station products, because you have to know if there's caffeine in there.
You know what I did when I couldn't, it was blurry and I couldn't read it. So if somebody forgets the readers, I took a picture with my phone and then I
make it bigger. I think that's another concern of a lot of the women. I think they think they're too old and they don't realize that this is actually an older sport. Like it tends to
be older sport. Yeah,
there's some young elite people
in their some, but there tends to be a lot of people in their 40s and 50s and some higher than that, and a lot of them started later in life too. Like
I was 40. I'm trying to think when I did my first 100, 42, 43, something. I don't know how old I am anymore. I don't care. I think 43 or 44, something like that.
How old was she?
I'm looking. Are you looking up?
You guys
Nettie?
Keep talking.
She's looking you up.
There's ultra sign up.
She's researching
find out.
She's gonna find out.
Burning River in 2006. Oh yeah, I was 44.
Yeah. So it's like that definitely shouldn't be a deterrent. It's pretty. I mean, heck, you see some of these guys in like their 70s with their trekking poles, like just
when you don't eat, they pass you late in the race. They do. They come walking past you while you're staggering about. They've been walking the whole race long and eating enough calories, and they walk right by you and your young self when you don't eat right. It's horrible.
Yeah, they get Hard Rock. Wasn't that guy 72 that crossed the finish line like that? He had his like I think his wife with him, like pacing him. Like it was
oh, that's cool.
All right, so for we were kind of starting to touch on it. Nutrition, like that's a big one. Have you kind of figured out a method that works? I mean, you've finished 1900s. Do you have like one kind of routine down as far as nutrition goes? How do you handle nutrition during races?
So I do get sick during the race. So I'm not gonna say that if I have it totally nailed. I think every race is different, and something that worked for you before may not work again. You're always learning the temperature, that plays a difference if it's cold or hot. I don't eat meat or dairy, but I am I say I'm a softcore vegan. So like when I had something that had some dairy in it at the aid station when I was dying. But I can't do like a straight dairy or like, a lot of it because it's going to upset my stomach because I haven't eaten it in decades, almost over decades. So I do I carry a lot of my stuff. Like I do those Chia Warriors little granola bars. They have chia seeds and cashew butter, and it's pretty mild on the stomach, and I can usually eat it. They're really small, they're easy to carry, they're 100 calories, so they're not super.
Chia you have to try before you ever encountered in a race. Never eat chia unless you've tested it at home.
Yeah, and I know that it works for me. May totally not work.
It's very calming, but I definitely chia is a completely good or horrible, and most people are really good. But there's a handful of people who it does bad things.
And I'm telling you, like I finished Tommy 200. What I finished it on, it's a race nutrition, and nothing worked. Everything was upsetting my stomach. So I drank Coke and ate potato chips and nothing else. Coke and potato chips. Every aid station, cup of Coke, bunch of potato chips, Coke and potato chips. And I couldn't have anything else because everything else made me nauseous or like I just couldn't stomach it. But potato chips are salt and caffeine and sugar, I guess. That's what it was. And some grease from potato chips. I usually, and I just, whatever works for you. Like you have to have more calories than you think you do. That's the thing. That's the mistake I made in the beginning when I was finishing, like looking like a ghost because I didn't eat enough.
Do you keep track of how much calories, or you just try to eat as much as you can?
I just try to eat as much as I kind of have, like, I drink Tailwind and I love it, but eventually I can't drink it. It's gonna, like, eventually nothing tastes good, right? Nothing works. Nothing is. So I buy those Pro Bar meal replacement bars at Whole Foods. They have 400 calories. They're big, and they have, like, my husband says they look like bird food.
Oh yeah,
they have like all the seeds and put together with, but they have tons of calories, and you can break them in. It says 400 calories per bar. They like meant to replace your lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
And I usually, they're not sweet. They kind of bland, and I can eat them. I usually can, like, they don't make me, because eventually sugar, you just can't look at it. And so I try to do those. I carry those with me in case. I do hummus avocado wraps if they have them at aid station. Avocado, I can usually like eat that. It's really dense, got a lot of calories per, and it's bland. I want something bland that doesn't taste sweet. And avocado has tons of calories, so I carried packets of I don't like peanut butter, but I do like almond butter. So I buy the little packets of almond butter, and I try to eat almond butter. I know it sounds gross, but it's tons of calories. So when you towards the end, you can just kind of get it in, and just whatever works. I try to eat off the aid station too, and I'm not super good about eating, though. I should say that. I need to get my Tums to get my stomach to eat again. But I just always say, like, don't be afraid to throw up, because most likely you'll feel better after you throw up. So
just don't get it on your shoes.
I think you were the one who told Lee about the salt in Coke.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, that's amazing.
That's magic.
Salt inside Coke, it's magic. I was so nauseous and nothing worked. And then, man, I wish I remember his name because he saved me. Because I was throwing up everywhere, and I could not stop throwing up.
Yeah, when the low salt, salt the Coke.
Yeah, and he said, just put a little bit of salt, like put that packet of salt. He gave me that Wendy's packet of salt and said, put it in Coke and drink it. And it was amazing. It worked. It works. It's just, the salt takes all the carbonation out of Coke.
Yeah.
And you can drink it, and it's like your stomach is golden within, a few minutes after.
Yeah, that's if you're salt.
I told other,
that's
what it's really. Because I went from saying I would never, I'd never drink a Coke, before I ran my first 100, to now when I get to an aid station in those, like, in the last 30 miles, like, I'll get to an aid station, I'll get Coke, I'll put in salt, and I'll put in sometimes a Starbucks Via on top of it, those hits, and I'm like mixing it up and like from going, I'll never drink Coke. Now I'm drinking Coke, salted coffee Coke, like.
Yeah, crazy, right? Let's think like the junk.
Yeah, it helps at the end, but that salt in the Coke is magic. Like,
that was amazing. That really saved me, because I finally stopped throwing up. I couldn't stop throwing up, and then I forgot about it, and I was throwing up a lot at No Business this year. And every aid station, like Lee said, you forget about your batteries, right? You go to the aid station, like, so excited to see people, and you forget that you forget to ask for salt and Coke. So when I eventually remembered to ask for it, then it was better.
Yeah. I feel like I've monopolized the questions. Do you have questions for Nettie?
Oh yeah, you're running Western States
I put
this
that
year.
in capital.
Yeah, I'm running Western States. That's right. I was gonna message you to get your advice.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, how long have you been trying to get into Western States?
Since 2016. So 6 years, but 5 lotteries, right? Because of the COVID didn't have it 1 year, so. I guess I was one of the last people pulled. I didn't watch the lottery. I work at the library, so I had to work that day. And all of a sudden, my phone went like a popcorn machine, like exploded. And I'm like, I think I got into Western States because there's no reason why like 30 people are texting me at the same time. It was like my phone was like boom, 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 like a popcorn, going through like. It was just crazy. I never had.
I think you'll do good at that.
When the texts come at the same time. But yeah, I'm excited. It was since 2016, so I wanted to go at least once. And,
it's a fun course. It's very runnable. It's a fun course. It's pretty. It's got a lot of good views. The aid stations have so much help. I don't know if they'll do it again, but the year I remember I ran it 2 years in a row, and the first year it was only my second 100, and I wasn't super used to things. So I had it in my head, I have to do things right. I have to come and find my drop bag. So I know that I had it on my water bottle that there's a drop bag at this aid station because I had a chart so I wouldn't forget. And I come in and I'm all focused on what I'm going to do. But unbeknownst to me, there's a person taking bib numbers like maybe 60 yards outside the aid station with a radio. So, I make sure you have a bib number. I know this is rules of hundreds. You have to make sure they record your bib number. I read it. I was so excited. And so I come in the aid station and this guy is like, okay, you give me your water bottle. I'm going to fill it for you. And he's like talking to me. I'm like, no, I'm like on my mission. I'm like, no, I have to get this and I have to get my drop bag. He's like, this is all the things that were in your drop bag on this table here. And I'm like, what? Because he's calling me by name. And I just think it's someone I met.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, Lee, I need you. I'm like, oh yeah, hi. And I try to walk away from him. And he's like, no, I'm your volunteer. I'm like, you're a volunteer. Hi, thank you for volunteering. And I continue like I'm not understanding. He's like, I'm your volunteer till you're done at this aid station. This is your drop. And
I did the same thing.
Laid it out on the table perfectly for me. And I'm like, oh. He goes, take the things you need, leave the things you don't want. When you're done doing that, I'll be back here with your water bottle full.
Yeah.
Water or a drink. Like, oh.
I did the same thing at Herd because we do the same thing at Herd.
Yeah, I had
no volunteer assigned to you. And I'm like, don't you have to go and help other people? And we're like, no, I'm with you until you leave the aid station. I'm your volunteer. Give me your trash and give me your sunglasses because it's night and you don't need your sunglasses. I put it in your drop bag. I see you in, 20 miles. You're good. And I'm like, okay, like you staying with me the whole time. Like it was just only like.
Oh yeah, they got worried about me once
I'd
it hurt.
Thrown by
I forgot about this one. Like I got really sick. The first year it hurt. I wasn't trained right for some course things and I had some leg problems when I got it done. The second year I started throwing up at the second time. Yeah, the second time in the pirate aid station. So like mile 47, projectile puke everywhere. Oh, it was horrible. And then I got overheated. So then I just walked over to the baby pool and lay down in the baby pool. The one where they make you walk the plank. If you're going to lay in the baby pool. They're like, are you quitting? I'm like, no, I'm just cooling off. Just cooling off. Just lay in the baby pool for a while. Just barely my head like up on the little edge. I'm not quitting. They make you walk a plank into a baby pool if you're going to DNF.
Oh yeah.
At that aid station.
Rub salt in the wounds.
It hurt. It hurt. So it's 20-mile loops, right?
Yeah.
But so if you do 60 miles, you don't get anything if you drop at 60 at the start finish. But if you make it past the 100K mark, you get I finished 100K of hurt award to encourage you to go one more aid station onto the loop. But then you're stuck there waiting for a ride back, right? Yeah. Or you can continue. And also, if you want to DNF there with your 100K award, you have to walk this plank into this damn baby pool or they won't let you. They're like, no, you have to do it. So then what happens is people go, they're like, or you can just go finish this loop on your own. And you're like, you have time. Why don't you just go finish this loop? But then if you do that after being coerced into doing more than 60 miles because you were going to drop at 60, now you're at 80 by the time you get back to start finishing. And then if you're making the cutoff, they're like, no, come on, go. So some people, like she said, some people drop, but they do definitely try to get you to go finish. If you were,
we try, we do everything we can to help you finish. Yeah. Like there was so it's very hard race, but it seems like the whole community is really, like the whole Honolulu pretty much, or Hawaii,
got a safety patrol
shows up at the aid station. They have the patrol, and
patrol going
everybody shows up and helps. Because I said the guy who paced me, he finished hurt 5 times. He was a 5-time finisher. He lives in Honolulu, and he just came to help. And I look like crap, and he's like, "Oh, that girl looks like she needs some help. She looks like she's out of her mind, looking like with her eyes popping out of sockets, and she's desperate to finish, but she looks like she's all covered in dirt and looks like, she has like ADD or something. She's running like a nutcase, but he helped me finish. I didn't know him. He just came at the aid station and said, hey, I can help you. We can get it done.
You were not about to say no? Yeah, the one time Matt is like, come on, honey, I'm just going to take you through the night. It's going to be fine. And you're like, well, okay, fine.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, some guy he was from Australia or Scotland. No, Australia. I do remember. He had, because the accent. I was throwing up. I was on, you remember all the bamboo?
Yeah.
The out and back going to the pirate. So I was getting sick to my stomach again and trying to come back up that. And he was coming down. And he's like, you're all right. I was like, just stomach, just the pukes. I'll be fine. Don't stay close. You'll see it'll make you sick. Oh, I have something for that. Pulls a baggie out, hands me a pill. This is a prescription doctor. This is a drug my doctor gives me is for puking. Hands it to me. I'm like, what is it? And he tells me, but he doesn't say that it's Zofran because he's from Australia. He says a generic name, which for a minute I can't process. It's a Dancetron, but I couldn't process it. Anti-nausea for when you have chemo and stuff. But he carried it because he'd get nauseous.
Oh yeah.
So this guy I've never met from another country hands me this pill. I'm sitting there. I'm like, he's like, it'll fix it. I'm like, okay. Pop the pill, swallow it, get up. I'm like, hope I don't puke until it processes. Guy went the other way on the trail. You should not usually take pills from strange men and just take
take them. Yeah, that's the thing you tell your daughter. I mean, that's
what I tell better.
My daughter, right? Like the first rule: don't take stuff from weird men or women, for that matter. Like that.
And here I am. 100 milers make you do stuff like that.
They make you do strange things. So I wanted to make sure you're involved with Trail Sisters, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm a chapter leader for Dayton chapter of Trail Sisters. So it's kind of a cool group. We have group runs. It's a national group. We're just doing it, in our little pocket in Ohio. And so we have the whole idea is kind of similar to what you guys doing, but it's for all just getting not just into 100, but just a lot of beginner women, just trying to get them to run trails. So I'm hosting runs every Wednesday at 6 p.m. now through the winter. So they get to run through the night, like in the night, not through the night, but in the dark. Because a lot of ladies, they never run in the dark on the trail ever in their life. So they started coming and they figured out it's not that scary. And we had like a bunch of them sign up. I added some of them to the group because like one signed up for Indiana 100, another one just did something which I should remember, but now I'm drawing blank, but she did 100 Woodstock. Oh, that's what she did. And they kind of, another lady that runs with us, she just won a race. She was like, oh my God, I didn't know I could win a race. She was like so excited. It was like a race, rain all the time and everybody dropped. And I was like, yeah, see, that's what it is. You just have to suck it up and keep going. And, sometimes people who are faster than you will.
And so you guys have meetups, like weekly meetups with?
Yeah, we have weekly group runs. We have a Facebook group. And the whole idea is like for my chapter, like what I want to do, I'm trying to encourage women to run longer distances on trail, get into trails and like eventually trying to get them into ultras. Because I think like and then we have a lot of ladies that are kind of moving up in distances too. If they don't want to, it's fine. I tell them they don't have to, but yeah, we have a bunch of ladies that are super interested in running hundreds now, so that's exciting.
So it sounds like there'd probably be a huge overlap with women in our group who would be interested in doing that. I know a lot of them don't have running support and they wish they had people to meet up with.
Yeah.
How could they find out if there's like a division near them and get involved as well?
So there's the trailsisters.net, that's the website, and it lists all the chapters. I believe there are like tons of. I wish I should know. We were one of the first chapters. Like we've been going on for like over 3 years. I started it as soon as like we were allowed to have local chapters with Trail Sisters. But yeah, they have. I don't know. I think what's her name? Jessica has one in Athens, and she's super active. I forgot her last name. I should remember her. She's my friend. But there's a lady in Athens, Ohio. She has a super cool chapter and they like do a lot of cool stuff together with her group. There's a group in Lexington, Kentucky, and like all over the place. I'm not sure. I should know if there is one in Cleveland, but I don't remember on top of my head if there is one. There's one in Cincinnati, and yeah, they're everywhere. It's pretty cool. So it's women only. So if you identify as a female, you can come and run with us. But that's
our group.
Yeah.
Same with our.
Yeah. So if you identify as a female, you're welcome to run with us. That's the only.
And when we do group hill repeats, we will actually those are open. Our group, our local group hill.
Well, yeah, our local meetups are everyone, but as far as our group involved, I mean,
anyone can come suffer. You only get special attention if you're in our group, but we allow people to bring for the group hill repeats right now.
Yeah.
They're just to get people out there.
Yeah, with the Trail Sister, it was the thing, because I get those questions all the time. It's idiotic. Like, don't ask those questions, be stupid. I heard it like millions of times, like, hey, like, how come you discriminate against men by only allowing female to run? It's idiotic. Like, I'm not even gonna go there. But the whole thing is that like a lot of the reason why we did the national group, like Gina Lucrezi started, is that like some women don't really feel comfortable running with men. I'm fine running with men, but some women don't. Some women have spouses. That's another, can of worms that I'm not gonna open, but they're jealous, if they run with other men. And sometimes women want to talk about periods and peeing their pants after having
guys
babies.
Who show up are subjected to the fact that I will bring these topics up no matter who's there.
So that's why, so that's like a space to talk about things that they maybe don't feel comfortable talking about when there are guys around.
That's definitely why we like having the private Facebook.
Yeah, so that's the main reason behind Trail Sister, because we talk about some stuff. We talk about everything, when we're on, and there are some things that a lot of people women would not feel completely comfortable talking to guys about, but
right.
Us, so
well, and I mean, it's just women are discouraged from doing these things. Like, I mean, I feel like we've had this conversation, like women are taught to be afraid, and it's worked. And that especially transfers over to trail running. And you hear it all the time, like how they're afraid to run alone, or they're afraid of the animals in the woods. And you hear fear so much, and men aren't.
Or like, how am I going to change my tampon in the middle of the race? Things like that too.
Yeah,
there's guys don't have to
think
about.
But I'm just waiting for that too, this whole reverse sexism thing to come up. Like, I'm waiting. We haven't gotten any of that yet, but I know like, we're going.
I got it. I get it.
Just direct that.
I got questions all the time and they sometimes be supposedly funny, but
you are the dominant group. You get to go everywhere. You're not funny. You're misogynist, not funny.
But they like, not a joke. I'm going to put on a skirt and come to your group, and like, you know what? It's a very it's totally moronic statement, and I'm not even going to address it at this point because
right,
it's discriminatory and it's not funny. I mean, that's not where I'm going with it. But.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, but at that point, you're at a level of like the men who make those comments are at a level of advantage that they're like so advantaged that they get to have an ignorance where they don't even realize how advantaged. A couple of
guys who come to our hills, definitely guys who would not say that.
No, we hang out with cool guys.
I have also most guys also, but have some of those people who think
they're the kind of hilarious by saying you're running with a woman in 100 and she's having this problem that only happens to women. Here's what you tell her. Tampon strings can chafe. You have to sometimes put lube on the string if it's really hot and horrible. Oh yes, that can happen. You'd think it couldn't happen. You can end up with salty, sweaty tampon string, and then it can chafe you. That's raining out. That happened to me in my first 100, and it was horrible. Horrible.
I can't believe you. I use the cap. I use Diva cap. I don't, because they called.
I can't use those. Now I have a Marina, and there's no bleeding, but also now that part of my life is winding itself down.
There you go.
Hooray! The menopauses.
That kind of brings me to one of the last topics I wanted to talk about. So, we've talked about kind of men holding women back, but one of the last ones is like women and how women treat other women. And at the last race we were at together,
I know where you're going.
We talked. I'm not going to use any names or anything, but I'm just going to be very vague. I was running in the middle of the night, at what I called the witching hours. Those hours that get like really hard, and you're tired, and you're clipping along, and it's like you're excited for when the sun's going to come up again because like you're fading, right? And I catch up to a woman runner, and now she's facing me because she's kind of like going down this ladder. And I said, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" And she just gives me kind of like a dirty look and keeps going, which fine, okay. Like, you don't have to talk to me. Like,
and maybe her blood sugar's low.
All those things. Like I said, I get deep in my head. Like 100 milers are like where I face the demons. So I'm sure I don't come off like very nice to people who like talk. I try to be nice, but I might come off like just not very, very social in those times. So I didn't think much of that. But then, like, I'm obviously going at a much faster pace than her. So I say, passing like when there's a chance. Like I say like passing when it's convenient, or passing when there's a spot for me to go by so that the person gets to choose. Well, she's like intentionally taking up like the middle of the path, like not letting me go by, and there's like brush on both sides. So I'm like going way slower than I want, like waiting, like wondering like when, like wondering when she's going to move, like, whenever you get a chance now, whenever you get a chance would be good. And we finally get to this opening, right? And she steps aside. She's like, there's these big rocks off to the side. And I'm thinking that she's stepping aside for me. And I'm like, oh, passing. And I keep going on the trail. And I noticed that she goes for the rocks behind me instead. And for a second, I'm thinking, like, is there a turn I don't know about? And then I'm like, well, no, she wouldn't just let me go by. Like, nobody would do that, right? Like, nobody would like watch me run the wrong way down the trail.
It doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I'm like, she must be going to pee behind those rocks, is like what I thought. And so I go a little bit more and I'm like, there's no confidence marker. And I go a little bit more, no confidence marker. And I go a little bit more and the trail ends. And I'm like, crap. So I turn back around, and sure enough, where she went between those rocks is where we were supposed to turn. And she, sure enough, just watched me go off after making it hard for me to pass her. Just watched me go off course, didn't say a word. And of course, now I catch back up to her again, and I'm like, passing when it's convenient. Like, she does the same shit. And finally, I get around her, and I don't see her again for the entire race. Like, completely lost her after that. And then at the finish line, like later when I'm sitting at the finish line,
I know who it was.
She goes through. I know and I was like, you know that woman? And she's like, yeah, of course. And it turns out that this is a very well-known.
It's just someone who's run more hundreds than us.
Well established.
Yeah, I know who it is. I know who it is because she was also not nice to my friend.
Yeah,
she's been not nice to quite a few people.
I had no idea at the time.
Women though, guys who've met her like her.
But then
yeah.
But she's sweet to them.
Totally.
Tells them how many hundreds she's run and
yeah. And I don't want to single her out. That's not.
We have one of those up here too.
That sat with me actually. That sat with me, and that was part of like I had the very beginning seeds of this group in my head already, and I feel like that kind of helped sprout them. Where it's like I never want to be that way. Like I never want to inhibit other women from doing what we're doing. Like I want to.
Oh, see, I'm just telling you, I want to
help them along, and get more in instead of being resentful that more women are coming into it and like, whatever that was, I don't know, but it kind of contributed. Like I just feel like it really actually kind of helped kindle some of those sparks that were already going on in my head about this group. So I feel like at least I was able to kind of turn that into something good. But I know you had like an incident too with a woman you didn't like, and when I was doing your not a woman you didn't like, did I just say that? With an incident that you didn't like with another accomplished on it. And when I was checking out one of your pages and saw you wrote some articles for Trail Sisters, there's just this excerpt. Do you mind if I read it? Or have we read it? Just because I feel like it embodies like a lot of kind of what our group is about. Do you mind reading it? Just because you're better at reading out loud.
I just want to say it's probably not. I'm gonna read the whole thing without commenting though.
You don't have to. No,
because
Nettie wrote this.
I just am so tired of these surveys. How do we make more women in running? And they're these just ridiculous surveys with dumb suggestions. I'm like, I don't know how we get more women. You coach them to it. And you tell them how to do it, and tell them they can over and over. A lot of them believe you, and then you give them the how, and you'll keep giving them the how and re-explaining it till they get it. And then you tell them races to go do, and you keep telling them it's a good idea and they can do it, and you get them all in communication. They'll run hundreds. So this is my plan. I have a master plan to get more women in hundreds. This is it.
She's very good at reading out loud, and I want the group to hear what you wrote at the top. Just read this whole thing.
In the world of running, there is generally tremendous camaraderie and support for one another, but there are also times when we, as women, can be each other's worst enemies, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. It's not sisterhood full of support, but instead a toxic environment where we tear each other down. I truly believe that gender equality in our sport won't come from extra lottery spots or from seeing elite women compete and win, but instead a form of support we show each other here in our own community. The growth will come from seeing all the amazing women who have full-time jobs, moms who are raising kids, driving them to endless sports activities, others who have young kids and husbands who may not be home often. There are those who take care of their aging parents and yet are still finding time to run. It will come from seeing women, your friends, running circles around soccer fields during their kids' practice, and moms squeezing in 90-minute run while their kids are in preschool, women working full-time and going to school, squeezing in a few miles on a trail early in the morning. The growth will come from us supporting each other unconditionally, not just with social media likes, but truly being there for each other. No judgment, no judgment. Cheer for other women with all of your heart.
I just liked that excerpt a lot. I thought it really kind of embodied
what
our group is about. Yeah, I know you've got a couple articles up on there.
I write better than I talk.
I didn't know you wrote until I found that.
Well, when we all learn Polish
to make sure I had some of my facts right.
We'll all learn Polish, and then when we can speak that fluently, then we can pick on you.
But no, that's
better than I talk. So a lot of people think I don't write because I have an accent, but I actually can write well better than I can speak. Yeah.
Well, I think you do both really well, and I really liked that. I know that's not the full article, but I really wanted to get that excerpt out there.
Thank you.
And it's just a really good point. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in it. It's just like if we support each other and compete them with yourself, right? But like, because there are some women that don't want more women in the sport because they have that place in it, and then we can tear each other down and not be like what happened to you and what happened to me at another race. It's not a good example.
Right. But it's also a rare example. Like that.
Yeah, it's a rare. Yeah.
It's shocking. It's shocking to you that happened. Like you thought to yourself, "There's no."
Oh yeah, I was shocked too. I was shocked that happened. I was like, "There's no way."
In any population, no matter what like demographic you pick of gender or age or like generation or like background, there's always going to be a couple jerks. It's just the nature of our species. Yeah. That's how humans are. There's always going to be some. And probably there's been a day in my life when I was the asshole. It's happened. In fact, I guarantee it's happened more than twice. I try really hard, but
you can argue
that you had low sugar and you didn't eat.
Yes, that too.
Well, I
actually on those calories.
Ultra running, I'm less of a jerk since I found running really far. Running really far is actually super good for my personality and makes me a kinder, gentler person.
And you could argue that like, oh, I should have known the course and it's not her responsibility. But one of the things I love about ultra running, especially the longer distances, is that's not what we're about. That's not how the people win their races. It's just such a supporting, like you don't keep going when you see somebody sick, you stop and like, hey, do you need anything? Like, I love that about the sport. So it was just so different than how I know to be, that it was just, even though it's my fault for missing the turn, it's just, it was hard to imagine somebody just watching somebody go off course during 100-miler, especially at that.
And don't say anything. Yeah, it was funny because I ran a Charleston race last month, right? A couple weeks ago. And that's the one that you have to navigate. They just give you the map.
Oh, yes.
And it's a road race, but you like figure out where you're going, right? We give you turns, and there's a lot of turns. He makes it interesting by like turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, So there's that guy I was running with for a while. I don't know his name. We're just running. And all of a sudden he runs ahead of me and he misses the turn and he keeps running straight. And I'm like yelling like, hey, you, hey, I don't know your name, but you're going the wrong way. And it's downtown Charleston, December 27th, all the tourists around. And I'm standing there like an idiot yelling behind that guy. He finally heard me. And I'm like, I don't know your name. I just trying to say, hey, wait.
I've done that where you're yelling after people and you're just yelling and yelling, waiting for them, and they ignore you at first. You're like,
yeah. And then I don't have a super big voice, and I'm like, hey, come on, hey, you, we run together.
Well, even in Cloud Splitter at the very end where you come back down into the town, that part was not marked well. Like once you got out of the woods and you went down this road and stuff, there were really no confidence markers. And Lee was telling us, Lee got the second place finish, and at the end, you went.
Because Micah, did you see how fast Micah ran that race? She was
she's amazing.
She's also the men. She's the everything winner. She ran faster than most men have ever run that course. She's amazing. And she had no crew with her. She had no pacer, no crew, nobody helping her. She signed up like day of, showed up, no support whatsoever, just like read over the stuff and took off and ran the race.
Yeah, I saw her when I did the Run Love It one year. She did the 100K and she was flying. I saw her.
I saw her at 8 because you come through them multiple times. I saw her like leaving one. And when I realized that where she was out going to, I'm like, wait a second, that was 100-mile bib, and she's already like, she's gonna finish under 24.
It was
like because there's this choke point where like you have to go and do huge loop twice and then come back out and finish. And she was already out of the loop when I was coming into it for my first time. She was already completely done. So, and she still I was like I started to say hi just because, it's another runner, and especially it's another woman runner. So I always try to say hi. And like, oh, hi, have a good run. Took off up the hill. I'm like,
but
she's running up the hill. Okay.
What I was getting at is that you were in second. Like, I mean, she was long done. But
me
and
the woman I was finishing with,
and
she
got
didn't know
overtaken.
If we were on course.
And she didn't know, like Lee was saying, like, so she snuck up on Lee, passed her. And then she didn't know which way to go. So she's like yelling back to Lee, like, where do we turn? And Lee's like telling her, like, oh, there, even then they're competing for second place. Yeah. He's like, you make that turn.
I outkicked her at the very end. It was the most painful thing ever. And I fell on the ground.
Amy has this awesome video of Lee's like sprint for the last mile.
Yeah. I ran a 7:25 mile.
Oh my God.
On flat pavement for the last mile of 100. I have not been in that kind of pain for running a mile.
Oh, geez.
I think I just wanted it. I think I was just more stubborn because like when she asked me, she could ask me and I had to tell her in like one word at a time because I could barely get my breath. Like I was completely winded. I did not know how I was going to keep my feet under me. And then
was she asking you when she
wasn't sure if we were on course?
She was ahead of Lee.
She was ahead of you. I thought you were ahead of her.
She asked me and thought she had me done because of how I was coming downhill slow because I had lost motivation. It hurt to go fast. It hurt to go slow. So I was kind of limping down. I was just being careful. I was babying things.
Like she just ran 98 miles or something, and I was being like late.
That. No, that race is like 103 or 5 or something.
Yeah.
And then she bombed past me. I'm like, oh, damn it. I'm going to make her work for this. So I decided to see how fast I could run if I decided to ignore the fact that it hurt now that I was motivated. So then I bombed down. I couldn't catch her on the hill, but when we hit the pavement, I was like, well, I'm going to at least make sure that I stay where if she turns her head, she can see me back here. I'm going to make her have to push if she's going to try to do this. But she had given it her all to pass me. I think it didn't have any more. But once I started trying, like I was able to hold it. I kept thinking I'm going to have to drop back and walk. I can't hold this. But then you know how that is. Like I have this thing in your brain where you just keep trying. Mind you, she crossed the finish line and was standing up talking to people 8 seconds after me. I could not get off the ground for almost.
The video is like me collapsing across the finish line.
Oh yeah, and I did. Because they're looking like, what's wrong with you? Because like I crossed the line and collapsed. Like wheezing, full blown, like almost reacting.
Just my point being, I just wanted to bring it up because like that's good sportsmanship. Like somebody just passed you, is in front of you, you're telling them where to turn. Like it's just so the opposite, and that's I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm not going to beat someone on a trick. I'm going to beat him on running.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And none of us are going to the Olympics. I have given up on my Olympic dreams.
I understand. No, I want to go.
As menopause.
We can go to senior Olympics. Once with 1050.
Do you know what? I do wonder, like, I might take up 100-yard dash running when I'm like over 80, because I wonder they lose their testosterone advantage and their muscle mass advantage, the boys. A lot of them are still faster because they've always been faster because right now there's not that many women that have been running 100 yards well. But I wonder, like, if I strength train enough and can stay healthy into my 80s, I wonder if I could actually be competitive at 100 meters, which for me is a horrible distance. I'm a very bad sprinter.
Yeah.
You'd be next
year. Like if I could just hold my current 100 meter speed, like anywhere close to it for long enough, everyone will slow down. I just have to figure out how to hold on. All of the string, like triple.
We can compete. Once we turn 50, you can compete in senior Olympics. But the funny thing is, so my friend's daughter was at University of Dayton in a program, and she runs cross country for them, and they had and she's in PA school, and the guy came and was doing a speech. And, this day and age, you can look up everything on the internet, right? It's totally idiotic to put something that's not credible. So he put his credential on it, and under it, he put Olympian. And she's like, what did he run? So she looked him up, and it was Senior Olympics.
Oh!
I mean, it's cool, right? It's cool. I'm not making, but it's kind of difference between going to, Rio and whatever, there you go. The Rio Olympics, and going to Tokyo and going to Senior Olympics in Atlanta, like it's only the US anyway. So then she told her mom, like, Mom, you have to run in Senior Olympics. So I can say I'm a daughter of an Olympian.
Something to aspire to. I like it.
Yeah, we can do Senior Olympics and say you can say she was in Olympics.
I want to wait till there's a lot of fast 50-year-olds. I think
there are, But if you find like some kind of niche, like
I want to be an age group called like Grandmasters.
Cool. Yes.
Yeah. You got to keep running long enough that your age groups, like just masters isn't good enough.
Pole vault or something.
Super masters, grandmasters.
Yeah. So Nettie, is there any last words? Is there anything you want to tell the women in our project who are just starting out and gearing up for that first 100?
You just can do more than you think. Seriously, you can do way more than you think. And you're totally capable. If you're capable, it's hard, but it's not that hard. There are things in life that are way harder. Like whatever you went through, it's way harder than running 6 miles between aid. Because it really is aid station to aid station. So you have 6 miles usually between the aid, and you can usually make it. You can run 6 miles from one aid station to aid station, or hike, or whatever. You can get there, and then you get help, and you just keep going to another aid station. Never think about it. I'm gonna run for 30 hours. I'm just gonna run 6 miles to the next aid station. I'm gonna get help. There will be people, and I have to leave that aid station, not sit there too long, and go to the next one. And that's the next adventure. It's just, trail goes up and it goes down. It changes. Things get. It never. What did David Horton said? It never always gets worse. It gets worse and better, and peaks and valleys. It's gonna get better, even if it gets worse. Then it gets better. Yeah, you can do it. Totally.
Well, thank you so much for being on our episode 2. Well, it was fantastic to see you. When are we seeing you again? Do we have any? Is it Fat Dog? Is that the next overlap?
Unless we could do.
You guys gonna come to Shawnee and run with me? That's what you said.
Yeah, that's right. We do have to do that. We have to find a time to do that.
Yeah.
We have no races in March or April.
We don't,
except for I have a 50K probably.
We have like a gap.
But that doesn't even count.
I'd love to come visit you and go for a run in your.
You guys can go and run. Lee would love it. Run on the loop for 48 hours, Lee. That would be good to train for.
I love that.
No, there was a joke. I know you would not like to do that. But we have a 48-hour run that you run for 48 hours on the 2-mile loop. I know you would not like it. I was being sarcastic.
That's your race, right? That you put on?
Yeah.
What's
48 hours? It's called Vernal Equinox because it's around the first day of spring. So you run for 48 hours. April 1st, Fool's Day. April Fool's Day.
We may be able to send some people to that though.
Oh,
we have some Ohio people in our project. A few of them live around Mohican.
Yeah, it's in Batavia, Cincinnati. It's around the horse farm.
Right, so we have some that are south of us in Ohio. We have some that are in the Cincinnati area. There are a couple from the Cincinnati area that and then we have a couple of them that are a little bit further north, but they're south of us, and a bunch of them that are like the Akron area. There's like a whole bunch of them in the Akron area, and those are great confidence boosters. A lot of the ones like 12, 8 first to make sure they're not going to die.
Yeah, so it's 2-hour loop and it's flat and it's around the horse farm. So you run around the grounds. It's a big Cincinnati horse farm. It's very pretty horse farm.
They get to see horses.
Yeah, so last year we did 24, 12, and 8. And it changes. Different horses go out. So that's what you look at. And this year we're adding, because a lot of people wanted to do wanted to try for 100 miles, and 24 was kind of too hard for them to get it. 24 hours was kind of hard to get 100 miles in for some people. So we added 48 hours. So, you have plenty of time, and you can sleep and take breaks. It's friendly. It's encouraging. It's not, anybody can come and Lee can run 250 miles in 48 hours, but
don't encourage her.
No,
with 7 minutes pace at the end.
No, I'm testing the 250 miles at Cocodona.
Well, we will definitely let the women in the group know about that one, because that might be a really good prospect for some of them. So we might be.
We'll have to get all
some ladies your way.
Yeah, it's flat. So if you need a lot of hills, I'm not going to tell you that it's not there.
No, these are people who just want to test their ability to do distance. Okay. Some of them aren't even trying to do 100 until a year from now, or even a year and a couple months, 14 months.
Most of them are going for fall.
Most of them want October, November. Yeah, most of them are signed up for something in October, November, or December.
Yeah.
Some of them have September hundreds.
So that
a handful have summer hundreds.
That would be like
so 24 hours starts on April 2nd, 48 hours starts on April 1st, and we have, so it's a very nice horse farm, and they do mostly horse shows there. So we did it last year with COVID. You can have I'm just gonna say clean because it's hardly used, horse stall to use as your aid station. So you can put like even your portable bed, a mattress, and sleep there, and then get out and run as you want to. And people did that, you know, they can set up the whole thing, little kitchen or whatever.
And they set up a tent somewhere there?
If they can set up the tents, they can use the stalls. It's just, like I said, it's a giant horse farm.
To do.
It's a horse farm, and there's nobody there. Like when we do the race, there are only the workers that like take horses out, and the horses are not in the barn where we a stage where our start finishes. That's completely empty, but it's 2 miles, you know, around the farm. So there is a place where they have horses. So you will go and see them in the pasture as you run around, and you see people taking them out. So it's kind of cool. Different horses go out, but like I said, it's 2 miles. You run 2 miles. Good mental training, over and over again. It's flat. It's trail. It's not road. It's trail. It's gravel or like flat trail.
Do you have a Facebook like group for that or anything? Like a page for that?
Empower Ultras.
Okay.
Empower Ultras. Yeah. Yeah, and we're on Ultra sign up. There's Empowered. Vernal Equinox is on
Vernal Equinox.
Ultra sign up.
There it
Equinox.
Is. Oh, okay. Excellent.
So now we can.
We will pass this along.
It's a really great training run. If you're training for hard rock, probably not. But if you're training for
no. But if you're training for your first 100 and you're scared of running all night, or at least anxious about it, and you're not sure about all that other stuff, then it's a really good idea. A lot of people, I mean, I would rather jump in, but I grew up camping and wandering around woods. Like I was already comfortable being in woods alone at night.
Yeah. Same.
Like it didn't bother me, and I think I took that for granted early on, but there are a lot of people who have grown up without that experience. It's very scary and new. And for them you can kind of separate the things, you know, like you can go for a night hike with some friends to get used to that part. You can sign up for a 24-hour race. So it's really far. Like you can, you know, break down the parts. For a lot of people, I think it helps to do this part now and then another part. And then you're like, okay, I've done all the pieces. Mm-hmm. I need to go do all of them at one time. You know, I know a lot of people who've attempted their first longer distance, a lot of women, especially, by doing a 24-hour.
All right. Well, we will talk to you soon, hopefully. Then we're going to try for March or April, one of those. We're going to try and come soon, Nettie.
Let's try for come and run at Shawnee with, Good night. Thanks, guys.
I don't know how to turn it off. We'll figure this out.
Call our daughter. Call our daughter.
Yeah, I got it. It does thing right.
Okay, good night.
There we go.